Yok. Let me turn my click sound off. Oh shit. Fuck you, Koto Shantos. I'm genuinely giving up on this level. Oh yeah, layout mode off. Where the fuck did my mouse go? What the fuck? Yo, gang, I did not ask for this. Of aflevering 11. Long Hunter Challenge. What the fuck? I'm gonna trouwens P-tag. Install Waar was... Holy orc spam! I can just do this. Basically just orc spam. What the fuck? Jesus, now what we ever played. I should have learned to get the phone. No, I can see this creative level. Who gives a shit? Let's say you've created a level. Who gives a shit? Buggy! Wat ik level. Handig. Oh, clubstep copy. This is like a level my 3-year-old brother would make. My brother is like 3 years old. Yeah, but fuck you, dickhead. Penis face. Sir, that's a... Sir, it's heavily implied that you're a dickhead. So, I'm sorry. Derrière. Wow, these unlocked levels are really beautiful nowadays. I really understand how they work. The map is hard. Wortelskopje. Hardest wortelskopje I've ever seen. So keep it hill. Wow, you've made an impossible level. Are you proud of yourself? Rika. Oh, it's actual level. Is that die slaughterhouse? Of thingy? Whoa, what the fuck? I am not trying to get downstairs. Who the fuck makes such shitty level? Stack here. Come on. Backwards. If this is an actual attempt at making a level, it's just really awful. Fucking penis face. Nice. Not the flow, bro. Pure. Squeak. It's just like an actual attempt at making a level. I find this really shitty. No, this seems like it was made by nature mode. Basically just orcs. Oh, so we're calling in the frame perfect now. I can hit those. Beep. Why the fuck am I? Why? This is an actual proper attempt. Just copied for Trox. Wow, that's so amazing. attack. I am gonna suck my own penis. That's me. Oh no. I just know Lobo stole them ideas from. I don't know. Let me check up if my YouTube doing okay again. If if I can watch it again. Searching for a world that doesn't exist. Searching for a world that doesn't exist. Please do not start tweaking on me.
Whatever you do at the crossroads, don't turn left. This is the first line in a book that Avery claims he did not write. 2 weeks ago, a YouTube channel called Avery the Mayo uploaded a YouTube video titled Weird Book I Did Not Write, where he shows us a mine that supposedly he never built. Inside the mine is a chest that Avery did not place, and inside the chest is a book that Avery did not write. Inside the book is a very strange message. Whatever you do at the crossroads, don't turn left. Don't be fooled, it's listening. You can't outsmart it, it's listening to me. It's watching me. It isn't from this world. At the crossroads, don't turn left. 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 Over and over, followed by a sequence of numbers. And that's it. It seems impossible that a whole mine just appears in your world without your knowledge, but Avery explains in the description of the video that the laptop he's playing on is from a storage locker. It already had Minecraft installed and this world already existed, but when Avery first loaded it up, it was just a normal world. He only now discovered this mine a few hundred blocks from his house. So, in that case, what is this book? The contents are strange, and it's not evident what they refer to. If anything, they just sound like some crazy rambling, but the numbers at the end are clearly some sort of code, so maybe we can solve it and figure out what this book is talking about. Except we can't. The numbers go higher than 26, so it's not any alphabetical code. There are 4 sections, not 3, so it isn't coordinates. And in fact, there's not a single cipher that comes up as a good match for this code. If it is a code, it's unlike any code I've ever seen, and I wasn't able to decipher it. So, is that it? A strange, one-off YouTube video and a dead end? Not quite, because for 2 frames at the very end of the video, Avery's inventory flashes a random pattern of blocks, and this time there is a code, because taking the first letter of the name of every block and capitalizing it if there is more than one, you get a string that perfectly matches the length of a Google Drive link, that when you enter takes you to a folder. And this is where the true mystery begins. The mystery of a Minecraft world that doesn't exist. Opening the video named Footage 1, we can see a player in the exact same spot Avery was in the last video, except now he has way more items than he had last time. Presumably this is from his house, and he's come to use this mine in survival as part of this world. The book is now gone from the chest, but it could be that Avery just burned it because it creeped him out, or it's just this book in his inventory. Regardless, Avery lines up with the other strip mine and begins to start a new one into the wall, but when he does, he finds this.
A cave? Okay.
Nothing weird, it's just a cave, and Avery walks in to begin exploring, until he stops and sees this. It's hard to make out, but as he walks closer we can see what it is. Moss and grass. This is immediately a red flag because this kind of terrain does not generate in caves. Avery checks
does.
underneath it, but there's nothing else either. And when he runs back to grab his torches, he notices yet another patch of moss in the corner of the cave. Again, not
No way my OBS is tweaking on me right now.
natural, but not leading anywhere either. It's only when he heads back down the cave does he see it.
Hallo, ik ben Philly Gilbert. Wil je weten hoeveel jouw auto waard is? Ga naar wijkopenauto's.be. Voer de autogegevens in en je krijgt snel de verkoopprijs. En dan verkoop je jouw wagen in een van onze vestigingen.
A tree. Avery approaches the clump of greenery, and there it is. A tree unlike any other oak tree in the entire game. Whatever this is, it isn't normal. Avery backtracks a bit, and we get a better look at this shrub, for lack of a better word. And after some hesitation and circling around it, Avery decides to try mining the tree. And he does, with no problem. It looks just like a normal tree, except normal trees don't generate underground. And it's not the only one. As Avery goes deeper and deeper into the cave, he passes larger and larger patches of greenery, coming across more shrubs and even more trees, and even more moss. He pauses to talk at one point, but instead of commenting on the trees, he brings up something else. It's weird, we've only seen stone. And I guess he's right, the walls of this cave don't have any diorite, granite, andesite, or ores, but come on, there's a bigger elephant in the room here. At some point though, Avery's wish gets granted, and the cave turns into terracotta, tuff, and deep slate. The greenery gets larger and larger, with the trees growing bigger and bigger. Until finally, Avery reaches the end.
Damn, bro, that's notch. Must have taken years to build.
Avery stops for several long seconds, just taking everything in. The room is a giant cave of green, with strange, unnaturally large trees forming a staircase on the back wall. The floor is covered in a massive field of moss, scattered with the strange trees we saw earlier. Avery slowly heads down the cavern wall, being careful not to take too much damage while maneuvering his way to the bottom. He looks around in awe as he explores the chamber, and from closer up, we can see a tunnel right between the massive tree gates. Avery searches around the trees for a few minutes, seemingly mesmerized by the build, and we can see that these gates are made of trees stacked on trees stacked on trees, made of spruce, mud, and oak. But the question here is obvious. What is this place? This kind of terrain, obviously, doesn't generate naturally, so who made it, and how does it just appear in Avery's world? Well, if there's any answer to that question, it's through this tunnel, because finally, Avery decides to stop sightseeing and heads down the tunnel at the center of the room. Avery walks through the mud brick tunnel, turning to glance behind him every few steps, but of course, nothing is there. The world is set to single player. At least, it seems that way. Until this happens.
I'm scared.
Something is wrong. It's almost impossible to notice, but at the far edge of the tunnel, the first pair of torches have suddenly been wiped out. Avery stares for a few seconds and continues walking. Another pair of torches is gone. I'm not scared of torches turning off.
The dogs keep turning off. Everything.
And then another. I don't know what kind of practical joke this is, but I already heard you in the...
What the fuck was that sound?
I'm not scared of a game.
I have a heartbeat.
I don't know why I just jumped down. I wasn't scared. But I felt
Fair.
compelled. I've never felt like that in my life.
Avery?
Aquavit. Gewoon water toevoegen. Kies een ontwerp. Leg de parels en sproei. Nu wachten. Druk op het legbord. Pop-up. Ze plakken. Versier en laat je eigen stijl zien.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view.
What is going on here? Things just went from strange to incredibly creepy in a matter of seconds. This doesn't just happen on a normal world, but Avery did say he found this world on a computer he got from a storage locker. So maybe this is just a world that the old owner of this computer created, and it's just some strange adventure horror map. Case closed. Except it's not, because the video files aren't the only thing in this Google Drive folder. If you remember, there's also this PDF, and opening it, we see this. My exploration into a strange tunnel I found in my Minecraft world. I've been playing this world for a while and just discovered this. This is my documentation of the search. Notably, when I installed Minecraft, this world came pre-created. Always thought that was a little strange, but I'm not really sure. This seems okay enough, but remember what Avery said earlier. He found this computer in a storage locker with Minecraft installed. Not he installed Minecraft and this world was there. Admittedly, it's a pretty small difference, but still, why the conflicting stories? Something you may have also noticed that I can't explain is why Avery's name is now censored. He wasn't censored in the previous videos, but now he's both hidden his name and changed his skin, almost like he's hiding from something. But there's still a lot more of this footage, and if you want to figure out what's happening in this world, why it exists, and what it has to do with Avery, we have to keep watching as Avery runs from whatever it is that's hiding in this world. Avery says he has to keep moving, even if he doesn't exactly know why, and the only way to go is down. Avery takes a leap into the giant pool of water before him and swims down into a junction of tunnels. After some hesitation, he burrows himself in the left wall for air before swimming down the left tunnel. He continues to navigate through the dark water, the tunnel getting narrower and narrower, with no end in sight. Until it opens into a giant cavernous room with just enough space at the top to get a bit of air. When Avery descends again, we can see tunnel openings sprawling across the walls. Avery scans around. There's no marker of where to go, just tunnels upon tunnels as far as the eye can see. And then he hears it. The same sound as when the whispers played previously. Avery rushes to dig into the wall, and as he blocks himself in, we can hear the whispers again. Quieter, but still there, as if they're passing by him. When the coast is clear, Avery digs out. But now what? He has no choice but to gamble on a tunnel and hope it's correct. He scans the walls again, no obvious sign of which one to pick. So finally, he rolls the dice. The tunnel leads to another junction, and again, after a slight hesitation, Avery goes left. The tunnel continues,
Go to the left. Go to the left.
getting narrower and narrower and narrower until finally
Stops. He's back there.
he finds himself in the oasis. Avery looks around the room, strangely almost peaceful. He's in the middle of a square pond, flanked on all sides by the same uncanny trees. He stares off at the water for a second before towering up and getting a good look around. Nothing but trees as far as the eye can see. For a moment, he pauses.
No.
Before something snaps, and he crafts a boat to get to the center of the lake. Without hesitation, he dives down into the tunnel and plugs up the hole. He makes another trip for good measure, plugging it even further. If this thing comes through here again, it has to break that, but I need to explore. He sails back to the edge of the lake. What it can't avoid doing is loading the chunk. Avery chops a few trees and crafts a hopper with the spare iron in his inventory. His plan is simple: set a trap for the thing following him. But wait, did I miss something? Because how does he know that something is following him? Sure, those torches turned off, and yeah, we heard those noises before, but there's actually an even stronger piece of evidence I haven't mentioned. Remember when Avery said this? I already heard you in the cave. Well, it took me a second to figure out what exactly he meant, but then I heard this.
Love Roblox? Earn Roblox digital gift cards with Microsoft Rewards. Sign up for Microsoft Rewards.
It's almost impossible to make out, but on a few separate instances while Avery was walking in that original cave, he would randomly pause for a second or two, and now we know why. He was listening. Every time he paused, for just a brief moment, you could hear footsteps on the stone behind him, stopping just a fraction of a second too late to be quiet. But okay, if something is somehow really following Avery in a single player world, how can he stop it, or at least get it to reveal itself? Well, that's exactly what he's doing right now. Like he said, he needs time to look around and explore this world, but while he's gone, anything can just swim through the hole and replace the blocks to make it look like nothing happened. But if Avery turns down his render distance and puts items in this hopper, if he then goes far enough away and unloads the chunk, the only way for the hopper to be empty when he returns is if something loaded the chunk while he was gone. And then, whatever was following him would be exposed. The trap is set. Now it's time to explore.
Like this music.
Avery walks through the trees, avoiding the lake so as to not load the chunk. Every inch of this place looks exactly the same. The same gray floor, the same strange trees. Everywhere he looks, there's nothing. Until, just in the corner of the screen, there's a sign. But it's hard to spot, and Avery doesn't seem to see it, and he keeps walking. Then he pauses. Interesting. That's the third sign we've seen so far. What? Where? Third sign? I've only seen this one, but it turns out he's right. Going back and re-watching the footage, just barely hidden in the corners of the screen are two other signs Avery crossed earlier in the recording, though he gave no indication at the time that he noticed them. Avery goes back to all three signs. All of them are blank, so I don't know what to make of it, but Avery seems to be satisfied and he explains why. These signs all seem to point to one place. Both of these angled ones point in the same direction. And he's right. If you line up a coordinate grid with the location and rotation of the signs, you get this. So he's right, all of them point a certain way, and if you trace out their intersection, it hits one specific point. He also pulls off this brilliant move which you rarely see from these protagonists by turning the difficulty to peaceful because he ran out of food. Absolutely genius. But with that said, he returns to the lake to check on his contraption. and nothing showed up. Items are still flowing out of the hopper, which would be impossible if anything had loaded the chunk. Avery tells us exactly this. Nothing came through. Not to mention, the blocks are still in the same position Avery placed them to plug the hole. Now that he's shaken off whatever was following him, Avery sails back, presumably to find the intersection points of the signs. But before he does that, he opens up chat and says this. Something is here. What? How? Why is Avery saying that? Why isn't he sending it in chat? What did he see? I don't know if it can hear me, but I'm not taking any chances. The grass block. When Avery left the chunk, he didn't just set one trap for the entity, he set two. Without mentioning anything to us, he placed a grass block next to a block of dirt. In Minecraft, grass can't spread if the chunk isn't loaded. The only way that this block is now grass is if something other than Avery loaded this chunk. I'm not scared, but my gut says to keep moving.
Damn.
Maybe I am scared.
Avery has suggested get off the laptop and go to bed.
De laagste prijzen, ook tijdens Black Friday. Die vind je bij Van den Borre dankzij onze laagste prijsgarantie.
The other sign was pointed head on.
I failed you so many times.
I think that's the wrong music for the wrong situation.
I committed so many crimes, and I was pretty sure of myself. You gave me reasons to be somebody else. Baby, I'm home again. I thought that I could run away.
Avery walks through a tunnel. A tunnel which quickly turns into a maze.
More to say,
And slowly but surely, dead end after dead end, Avery navigates through it.
to be somebody else. It's alright. Baby, here I am. I was lost. Now I'm found again. It's alright. Baby, here I am. It's alright. 'Cause baby, I'm
Avery is clearly smart. Smart enough to set a trap, and smart enough to set a backup. But whatever this thing is that's following him, it's smart too. Smart enough to block up the tunnel it entered from. Smart enough to refill the hopper with items after loading the chunk. Smart enough to hide its presence. This world seems to be guiding Avery somewhere. The whispers in this tunnel coercing him to enter the cave. The signs pointing to the secret entrance under the tree. Whatever this world is, it's leading Avery. But to what? We don't know. All we do know is that he isn't alone. And finally, Avery exits the maze into another giant room with what looks like a cipher above a door, with 3 levers right in front of it. Avery stares up at it, says he'll need a pen and paper, and blocks up the tunnel where he came from. The footage ends with him staring up at the code, deep in thought. From what I can see, the code atop the doorway looks something like this. It doesn't immediately remind me of anything, and plugging it into a cipher decoder gives me no ideas either. Running each of the candidate ciphers just gives gibberish every single time. Whatever this code is, there's unfortunately no way that I or Avery can solve it. The second half of the footage picks up with 17 minutes of just staring at the wall, and then he gets it. Okay, I guess it was solvable. Avery says it's a good poem, but doesn't actually reveal what it said, only that it uses cipher stacking, a technique where two ciphers are layered one on top of the other to make a code almost undecipherable. How Avery actually solved it with a pen and paper is beyond me, but the puzzle isn't over yet. There's still this gate, which Avery suspects is some sort of combination lock, but instead of a pen and paper, his solution this time is a bit more, how do I put this? Efficient. And with that, he's... Wait. Who's Durlord 3? For the first time in this footage, Avery's sensor bar lingers for just a second too short, and we get a glimpse of the name. This isn't Avery's name. This isn't Avery's skin. Maybe the reason that we got two different stories about where this world came from is because the player we've been watching this entire time isn't Avery at all. But if that's the case, then who is this? The world at the beginning is clearly the same one that Avery was playing on. So what's going on here? If it is Avery on an alt account, why the conflicting stories in the description and the document? And if it's not Avery, then who is this other person, and why are they claiming that this is their world they found? I genuinely just don't know, but the only way to find out is to keep watching, as Durlord walks through the tunnel after the puzzle and finds himself in the village.
Stop giving me ads! Stop giving me ads! Skip. Skip. Thank you. Oh. Comment section? Yo, Fun, kijk wat ik aan het kijken ben. ARG Entity versus fucking Light Yagami. Oké, dus we hebben Avery, ARG Entity versus fucking Light Yagami apparently. pause the video, please. Thank you. Why is the narrator not talking anymore? Why, please? At the crossroads. Empty bookshelf. Found some.
It's empty.
Aquabeats Nagelstudio Disney Princess. Kies je favoriete prinses. Plaats een sticker en sproei dan water. En versier zoals je wilt. Met glitters en accessoires. Het is makkelijk en zo mooi. Wauw. Aquabeats Nagelstudio Disney Princess.
Maar kon dat net
This isn't just any chat, it's ClickUp chat. Sure, you can tag your team, ask questions, and even drop an emoji. But
basically Discord but the worst.
This village is strange. It's clearly abandoned if the cobwebs and literal holes in the roof didn't make that obvious, and all the chests and containers have nothing inside of them. There's also an interesting amount of yellow in the carpets, beds, and flooring, but wherever Durlord
yellow?
looks, he can't find anything of interest. No lead on where to go or what to do from here. The fountain and statue in the town center is by far the most eye-catching decoration here, but like we can see, it too is empty. There's no path to take from there. So, is this the final area then? The final answer to what's been going on with this world and what's been following him? I'm not sure, and clearly Durlord isn't either, since he keeps looking around for anything out of the ordinary, anything that might give him a clue of where to look next.
The music fades. A tower. Oh, maar is fucking blind. Nee, dat was zwart. gebeurt? Church looking thing. Such a Oh, those are the crossroads. What the fuck?
I hate it here. These idiots are insufferable. They think that devotion will save them. Rest assured, it will not. Not that it will do them any good to believe that anyway. The ones who realized it pretend they didn't. But it doesn't help that there are some of them who truly believe they'll be saved. The king is coming, Maya. If anything, I wager that their king is already here. It's watching me write this. I don't particularly care. I just want this to be done with. The sooner I can leave, the better. He's arrived. I don't know why anyone is surprised to find that out. This is exactly what they were hoping for. I'm going. I'm leaving this here in the rare case someone finds it. If you have found this, I implore you, turn back, disconnect, forget about this world. It's not for you. If you've come here, you must be curious. I know you must want to continue onwards. So I know that this is a heavy ask, but please, do not go any further. For your own good, do not.
Damn, the pagan is so small. Wat dan nog?
Hallo, ik ben Philippe Gilbert. Wil je weten hoeveel jouw auto waard is? Ga naar wijkopenauto's.be. Voer de autogegevens in en je krijgt snel de verkoopprijs. En dan verkoop je jouw wagen in een van onze vestigingen. Mijn advies, Vraag nu jouw prijs aan op wikopenautos.be.
Oh, het continues. Oh, my knee. Narrator is gone. What the fuck? Just breathing. Autos, the castle. Seattle. That jumps out. What the fuck? He's spawning in that room. He's spawning in that room.
There's no escaping. There's no escaping.
Whatever you do at the crossroads, don't turn left. Don't be fooled. It's listening. You can't outsmart it. It's listening to me. It's watching me. It isn't from this world. At the crossroads, don't turn left. 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 And the footage ends. Right there. Durlord was the person who wrote the book in Avery's world. How? It shouldn't even be possible that the tunnel led him back to that mine. Durlord found this world on his computer, and Avery found Durlord's old laptop in the storage locker and has been playing on it ever since. But what is this world? What was following Durlord in this footage, and most importantly, what was behind those gates? I didn't put that sensor bar there, that was in the original footage. Whatever is behind that black square was enough to drive probably the smartest protagonist I've ever seen into running for his life. Something that a whole village of people was trying to summon. Something that this entire world has been hiding. A king? What does that even mean? I don't know what to tell you, but I can tell you one thing. The code at the end of the book, now with this footage, we can solve it. Each number corresponds to one slot in Durlord's inventory. 1 here and 36 here. Take the first letter of each item, or whatever number is indicated after the dash. From that, we can get this. Run Avery. It's here. Durlord was giving one last warning, hoping that whatever was following him wouldn't see. But how? How would he possibly know that Avery would find this world? There's no way for him to know who Avery even is. Whatever he saw behind those doors, whatever he knows about this world now, we may never understand. But one thing is certain. Whatever was coming for him is coming for Avery next. This isn't over.
Damn. Oh, what the fuck? That was crazy. That was crazy. Wow. Still gonna finish this video.
Have you ever looked at cycles and just thought to yourself, what if this was an extreme demon?
No.
No? Just me? Well, too bad! Because with the power of Straight Fly, club step monsters, frame perfect timings, and many more gimmicks, I turned cycles from this chill old level into this monstrosity that I'm gonna have to actually be. Let's get right into it. And I'm gonna do a cool transition. Now, a lot of you can probably guess what I'm about to do right now. Because, I mean, if we're being realistic, like, just look at the spike. It's kind of asking for it, isn't it? I should do, like, a cool transition. You know what? Let's try it, okay? Let's make this jump a whole lot cooler. How is that? We turned that one spike into 4 spikes. And we turned the air into a club step monster head, complete with some cool horns at the top and pink eyes. That's pretty freaking awesome. Okay, but in all seriousness, I think that's pretty cool, right? I mean, we all agree that's pretty cool. Next up, these 2 jumps. Now, there's a lot of things we can do here, and I'm not really sure which one I want to go with. You know, I just had a weird idea because I want to do something new. Like, the predictable thing to do is just to do, like, more club set monsters. But nah, we're switching it up. It's 2025. We got new ideas. I'm thinking I want to use, like, a dash orb and, like, put it here and rotate it like that. So, like, I want the challenge to be, like, when you hit the dash orb and let go. Like, you have to make it in here. And, like, wait, that's kind of cool, actually. You know, this actually is pretty hard. I'm failing this a lot. Wait. Is that cool? It's kind of weird. But I think it's kind of cool, you know? Like, I've never done that before. I want to try some new things, you know? I also don't need this many chains up here. I could probably get rid of these and just have, like, that. But I feel like this structure looks boring then. Like, do I just make it another club set monster? Okay, so I'm not really sure what I did, but I added, like, slopes up here to kind of give the structure, like, a cooler look. And I think I actually kind of like it. It's, again, kind of weird, but kind of cool. So yeah, I think I like this. Let's move on. Right here, we've got a pad and a orb and jumps. Yeah, there's a lot we can do.
No, I also want to dodge this one. My microphone is no.
Weird Missing Block Glitch is the first of many videos uploaded to a channel called Nights. The channel is sparse, no profile.
Let me just. Fuck.
Profile picture, a blank banner, and only these 8 videos. But these videos aren't normal. They're videos of a player haunted by a world that is deleting itself. A world that holds secrets into one of the strangest stories the internet has ever seen. And the only way to solve it is to watch the first video, where it seems like whoever we're watching is giving us a lay of the land, showing us around their Minecraft world. We catch a glimpse of their house and a small castle off to the side, and then something a bit odd. If you blink, you might miss it, but take a look at this scenery. In the distance, there is a single tree with only 1 leaf. We have no reason to believe this isn't just man-made, but it feels weird, especially considering all the normal trees around it. But this is hardly the strangest part of the video. As our protagonist keeps walking, he runs into this, a gaping chunk of void. This hole extends all the way to bedrock, and even stranger all around it, our main character runs into some half cut down trees. Again, these could have been man-made, but why? Why not mine the full tree, and why leave it like this? Our player hesitantly goes down into the chunk, and I guess after being spooked, heads back to the surface only to find that a giant hole has now appeared in front of their house. They freak out, and the video ends. This hole wasn't there before, and what caused it is completely unknown, but clearly our character was spooked, leaving the world almost immediately. They didn't do this to their world, so who or what did? There are a few more things about this video though that I didn't point out at first. For one, on the walk back to the house, our main character encounters a tree with a missing block, but judging by how he reacts, filling the gap, we can assume that he wouldn't leave a tree like this, and this also wasn't him. Just another weird oddity of blocks seemingly disappearing in this world. Another thing that's strange is the lack of bedrock. Both of the holes we've seen so far have had no bedrock at the bottom. For some reason, this world lacks a foundation. But finally, we can get some concrete info about what's going on by looking at the description. Weird missing blocks in mine and Danny's world. Not sure if this is something that just happens, but I thought I'd put it here and See if anyone knows. Mason Knight 77. Now we have a name for whoever runs this channel, Mason, and we get confirmation that he doesn't know what's going on here either. We're also introduced to someone named Danny. Apparently he shared this world with Mason, but we're still totally in the dark about what's going on and why holes into the void are appearing all over this world. For that, we have to watch video number 2. The video It Gets Worse leaves little to the imagination about what's to come. Mason leaves his house again, and we can see that 2 new holes have formed in his world.
3.
One in the far corner and one eating up part of the castle. Mason looks around and peers down the various holes. He's probably scared and confused, and yet again there's no bedrock to be seen. But as he approaches the hole, we notice something odd. There's no leaves on this tree. This tree isn't caught in any chunkers, but for some reason half its leaves are totally gone, just like the tree we saw in episode 1. And not to mention, this time there are strange holes dug into the ground below it. For some unknown reason, more and more blocks are slowly disappearing from this world, and Mason is trapped inside. Mason then heads to the castle and begins to repair the ground and then the castle itself. The video cuts to Mason getting more materials from his chest before heading back to continue the repairs. He finishes repairing the castle, but as he turns around, he sees it. A new hole opened up right behind him. In between Mason walking back and finishing the castle repairs, there were no cuts in the video, no time for someone to dig this chunk out. This happened as Mason was online, just like we saw in episode 1. Probably frightened, Mason goes to investigate, looking around frantically, peering down the hole, and then we get this.
I thought that's just a pig, but no.
All of a sudden, all the leaves around Mason disappear, leaving the trees bare just as we saw before. This is terrifying. The world is disintegrating around Mason in real time. But why? What's behind this disappearance, and why is it doing this? The description of this video doesn't tell us much, essentially exactly what we just saw unfold. However, we do learn that this castle is specifically Danny's and not Mason's. As for the rest of what's going on here, we're still very much in the dark, and video 3 is a bit strange. A new world begins with the generating title screen, but it seems cut up, since right after supposedly generating the world, Mason, or whoever we're watching, already has pretty advanced items, so this world was definitely played through quite a bit between what we just saw, and at least from the terrain we can see, it seems like a totally different world than what Mason was just showing us. Mason walks around for most of the video before planting a rose and looking out over a lake. This video also has a song playing in the background. C418's Danny. The video is simple but weird, and it seems very out of place. For one thing, why the cut between generating world and getting all of these items? It just doesn't make sense to me to cut out all the progress and only give us this. And for another, why the rose and the music? To me though, maybe this is simply meant to be Mason's single player world, a way to escape from the horrors happening in the world he shares with Danny. This is his peaceful reverie away from it all. But the next video is the polar opposite. It seems that Mason is back on his and Danny's world, and he's not going down without a fight. All the leaves near Mason's house are now gone, and he's not in a good mood about it. Mason punches a sheep and a chicken before walking to the back of his house and showing us a giant crevasse. This is the biggest hole we've seen form yet, implying that the disintegration is only getting faster. In a rage, Mason slaughters all the chickens perched by his base, almost as if he's fighting back against the world itself, and he discovers enters another chunk with random holes that seem to go nowhere, as if the chunk is preparing to be deleted. Enraged, Mason returns home, grabs TNT, and begins exploding the chunk over and over and over again, as if he thinks that it's his world that's out to get him and he's going to fight back by hurting the world itself. But his efforts are in vain, and after detonating almost all his TNT, Mason turns around to find that another chunk of the castle has been deleted right behind him. The world is also fighting back, and it's fighting harder. Mason drops his last TNT into the newly formed hole and returns home, slaughtering all the mobs stationed outside once again, accidentally blowing up his house, and finally returning to bed in defeat. This isn't a victory, but it seems like Mason has a change of heart, since in the next video things are quite different. The video titled Repairs consists of Mason doing just that, repairs. The world around him has gotten even worse, but Mason doesn't seem to be mad anymore. Instead, he grabs a bunch of dirt and cobblestone and patches up both the castle and the holes he made in the last video, almost as if he's apologizing to the world for what he did last time. The description seems to confirm this. Mason is making amends with whatever supernatural force is haunting his game. I guess he's hoping that by apologizing, maybe it will just stop taking away land. Mason continues to patch up the castle, but as he brings in some ladders, we notice something odd. A chest. Mason doesn't open this chest, and it wasn't here earlier when Mason was rebuilding, meaning that he placed it sometime during this cut and what we see earlier on. But why? This is a bit of a weird mystery, and I'm still not really sure what this chest is meant to symbolize, but we can do some deduction to maybe figure out what he put inside. This is the last glimpse we get of Mason's inventory before the cut, and we can see that it looks pretty normal, nothing that weird. After the cut though, once we know the chest has been placed, Mason's inventory looks like this. Pretty much everything that was originally there is still there, besides the cobble that we know Mason used to rebuild the castle. In fact, there's only two items that were lost across the cut. The chest, which obviously Mason placed inside, and weirdly, the rose. Mason picks this rose 20 seconds into the video, and given that it's gone after the cut, we can assume that this is what he placed inside the chest. But if so, why? What's the significance in placing this rose inside of the chest? And honestly, we don't have any actual proof that that's really what he put in the chest. For all we know, he could have put nothing and just replanted or stored the rose somewhere else. Regardless, the rest of the video continues rather calmly. There are more repairs, and Mason goes to bed. By now, we can observe a pattern. Every video we've watched so far, with the exception of the odd New World one, has more and more chunks and leaves disappearing from Mason's world. He starts confused, tries to run away, tries to fight back, and finally tries to make amends, all to no avail. It just keeps getting worse for him. Throughout all of this, Mason sometimes rebuilds other chunks, but the one thing he keeps rebuilding is Danny's castle, and on the subject, we never once get to meet Danny himself. But the cause of the disintegration is still very unknown, and Mason isn't really talkative in any of these videos, so our only choice to solve this mystery is to keep watching. The next video, titled Border, is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A border formed around the house and the castle. I don't know why, but it keeps getting worse, and I don't know what to do. Mason gives us a tour, and yeah, it's bad. A giant border of void chunks has now formed all around his house and nearby land. The terrain behind it seems to be okay, for now, but it's clear that this area Mason lives in is being isolated by the world around it. The entire video consists of Mason walking the perimeter, giving us a tour of the horrors taking over his world. At one point, something catches his eye. Cobblestone, a not naturally occurring block, and he heads down into the border to explore further.
Aquabeat. Gewoon water toevoegen. Kies een ontwerp, leg de parels en sproei. Nu wachten. Druk op het legbord. Pop-up. Ze plakken. Versier en laat je eigen stijl zien.
He comes across this weird wall-like structure and studies it for a minute, then leaves. Cobblestone usually implies man-made, but what this structure is very much beyond me. Though given the nearby presence of lava and obsidian, it could be just as easily that this structure was naturally generated when the terrain spliced or was dug out. We have no idea. As the tour continues, we find out that almost all the trees inside the perimeter have been stripped of their leaves, resulting in a very haunting and eerie skyline. This area area of the world specifically where Mason's house is being destroyed, which begs an interesting question. Why doesn't Mason just run? Why doesn't he just abandon this house or abandon this world? I mean, typically if this was your normal player, I don't know why on earth anyone would stay in this world when clearly something is very wrong with it. It just doesn't make sense to me why Mason is staying amidst all of this happening to him. When Mason does eventually return to his house, we can see that a chunk of land that was there before is now missing. More corruption, just as we're used to. Mason goes to sleep again, and this video ends. Things are only getting worse. More and more blocks keep disappearing, and it's clear that Mason is powerless to stop it, but the next video takes a very strange turn. But before we get to it, if you are enjoying the video, then please consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 2 million subscribers by the end of the year, but a lot of people end up watching these videos through and never subscribe. So if you do enjoy these videos and want to see more just like them, subscribing is the best way to tell me that and support the channel. But thank you so much, and let's get back to Mason. The next video, Calm, is exactly that. Mason is just playing Minecraft. No chunks disappear, nothing weird ever happens. It's just 5 minutes of peace. Except, well, there is one thing. Actually, two things. For one thing, 55 seconds into this video, music starts to play. Every other video we see on this channel up to this point has had no music. That is, every video but one. A New World. In fact, this is the same song that plays in that video as well. Why that song is present in both A New World and here is unknown, but this video hides a far darker second secret. Searching in the captions of this video, 2 minutes in, we get a random string. This string is a YouTube URL, and adding the correct prefix takes us to an unlisted video on Mason's channel, Escaping to Hell. It's pretty clear that this video takes place after everything we've already seen so far, as Mason's tools have gotten better and the chunks are far worse. Mason heads to grab obsidian from his chests and constructs a portal in front of his house, but when he enters, we get this. This is extremely surreal. It seems from the fog and textures that all of a sudden we've entered a different version of Minecraft. The text in the top left is gone, and all of a sudden Mason is in creative without any of his items. But of course, let's not ignore the elephant in the room that this is not the Nether. Instead, there is only a road, a seemingly infinite extending street that Mason spawns in on. Mason walks through this eerie dimension until he stumbles across what looks like very poorly built traffic lights. Looking over the crossroad, he continues straight until he sees it, a block on the road. Then another, and then stairs, and finally glass panes. Mason freezes, staring for a few seconds before quickly turning back and running through the portal back to the overworld. On the other side, he has his items again, we're back to normal, and he tears down the portal. And in the corner of his vision, we can see that part of the castle has been destroyed yet again. What in the world did we just watch? This is no longer normal. Not that it ever was, but even this is out of place for this YouTube channel. Given how he was looking around, it seems like Mason didn't build this, but still, what on earth? I don't really know what to tell you. All we can really do is go into the next video where things have somehow gotten even worse. Mason is moving house, and at first it isn't really clear why, but as he looks up we can see exactly the reason. Half his house was just vaporized by one of the chunk errors, but it isn't just his house. As Mason looks around, we can see that any land past the border is now gone. The chunks in the distance are completely removed, and it appears that all that is left of Mason and Danny's world are the chunks we can see around us. The corruption has spread deep now, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Slowly but steadily, Mason moves all of his stuff into Danny's castle, chest by chest, item by item. Interestingly, he still doesn't address the chest he placed in the castle basement, but as he's relocating the last of his torches, we can see it. His house has fully vanished, gone into the void, and nothing but the final back wall giving any sign that it ever existed in the first place. Mason looks at it for a few more seconds before curiosity, or maybe longing, gets the best of him, and he goes to say goodbye one last time. He visits the pit that was once his old home and takes it all in, staring longingly into the void before turning to watch the sunset. He stays like this for a while before finally heading home to the castle and sleeping once again. At this point, it's pretty clear that Mason feels powerless against whatever is taking control over his world. The haunting does not seem to be slowing down, and day by day, more and more blocks are being removed from the world. It's only a matter of time until nothing is left of this world, but we're too far in to stop watching now. We have to see this story through and find out what's really going on here. It's time for the next video, Hope. The video begins with a stark contrast to last time. Danny's castle is now seemingly the only chunk left of this world, with Mason taking shelter within its walls. We can only guess that there isn't much time left before the world deletes this chunk too once and for all. From the various cobblestone bridges spanning out into the void, we can guess that Mason was bridging outwards in hopes of finding something, anything that still exists out there, but apparently it was to no avail. His render distance has decreased, and we watch as he gathers blocks for one final expedition out towards the left. But this time, he finds something. Somehow, in the distance, Mason catches sight of a chunk that still exists. A chunk that for some unknown reason hasn't been deleted. Why? Why has this chunk survived the disintegration when nothing else did? Regardless, Mason can't believe his eyes, running back to get more blocks to finish his bridge before finally climbing over the edge to admire the intact chunk. It's
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority.
It seems like he still can't believe his eyes. Something still exists. There's still hope in saving this world if he can figure out what's special about this chunk. He tries bridging out more but changes his mind, going to mine the tree before again changing his mind and replanting the wood. It seems that he doesn't want to cause any damage to this chunk, to savor it as the final remains of his world. He climbs up to the highest point before being transfixed by the dandelion. He then rushes back to his base and brings over food and a chest. Mason quickly kills the animals that have spawned in the new chunk and then makes some sort of odd sacrifice or prayer to the chunk. I'm not really sure what he's getting at, but he fills a chest with items before giving yet another offering. This video takes a weird turn, and it seems like Mason is trying to use this chunk as a way to save his world. If he can figure out what makes this chunk special, then maybe he thinks he can bring his world back. As for what does make this chunk special, I'm not really sure. I don't know why this is the one chunk that survived in the void, but I did find something rather interesting. If we trace back to the very first video, remember the weird tree with a missing block that Mason filled in? Well, we can actually line up this shot of the tree with the tree on the surviving chunk, and this shot of the flower confirms it. This is the same tree, the same chunk that Mason interfered with in the first episode. Whether that actually means something or is just a pure coincidence is up for debate, but it seems a bit too good to be true. Either way though, it doesn't really tell us why this was the chunk that survived the deletion. It's hard to believe Mason did nothing in any other chunk. The next video though gives us some more information. The video is titled Amekania, which, after looking it up, is the name of the Greek goddess of helplessness. If that doesn't clue you into what's to come, well, you'll see. The video starts with Mason on the bridge back to the castle, returning from the surviving chunk. Given the amount of food he pulls out of his chest back home, it seems like he's going to make another offering. Before he does though, Mason begins tearing down his other bridges before finally heading back to the surviving chunk. But when he returns to it, it's gone. The chunk has vanished. The blocks Mason placed are still there, but the chunk itself is totally gone. Deleted. Clearly, Mason's bargaining wasn't enough. The offerings weren't received. This world clearly isn't done taking things from Mason. Mason, now utterly defeated, looks around helpless, hopeless, as his dreams of saving this world were crushed right before his eyes. He dumps his offering into the void before tearing down this final bridge. There's nowhere else for him to go. Mason heads back to the base and in one quick motion breaks his chest of cobblestone and takes it all with him. He waits outside, watching as day turns to night before turning to the void and throwing his cobblestone in. Block by block, stack by stack, Mason throws his building blocks into the void until there's only one stack left. And he gets rid of that one too. The meaning is obvious. Mason has lost hope. He's given up on bridging anywhere else and escaping this castle in the sky. There's just nowhere for him to go anymore. That surviving chunk was his last thread of hope, and now it's gone. Mason is fully helpless. But as he drops the final stack, he looks up. A tree has just grown. He stares at it for a little before heading to bed and ending the video. This video is a journey of Mason, hopeful about his potential savior, to losing it in the blink of an eye, giving up all hope before once again, for a moment, seeming like he isn't going to give up. It's genuinely just sad to watch, but it still doesn't answer what's causing all of this in Mason's world. Why is it that the castle hasn't been deleted yet when everything else has? Why did that other chunk take so long to delete? And still, what in the world was the meaning of that Nether episode? It just doesn't add up. But there's only one video left in the series, so if there's ever been a time for answers, it's now. Acceptance begins with Mason heading out of the castle, and we see something interesting. More saplings have been planted. It seems like that tree growing in the last video must have sparked something inside of Mason, because now he looks like he hasn't given up on escaping this void yet. He turns and notices a gap in his fence before going up to fix it, after which he heads back down to look into the void. But suddenly, something switches. Mason runs back inside and grabs his shovel, before immediately returning, and after a few moments of hesitation, he begins to destroy. Mason breaks all his saplings before returning to the only one remaining corner of this island and digging it out. Without stopping, he digs the tunnel all the way to the bottom of the void and then back up, but he doesn't stop there. Mason uproots his entire island, mining all of the dirt before starting to destroy the castle too. No blocks are spared, and Mason continues to dig more and more, breaking the entire tower before moving on to the next one. Soon, the entire top half of the second tower is also gone, and Mason pauses, only to then throw his armor into the void as well. He continues to tear down the walls, block after block after block, until all that's left of the entire world is the chest. Mason goes into F5 and looks around, surveying the void around him and watching the clouds, seemingly at peace for the first time in it.
Wat blieft? Okidoki.
Ages. Before looking down, breaking the chest, and falling into the void. And that's the end of the series. There are no videos left and seemingly no answer of what comes next, what this all means, and why this happened to Mason. All we're left with is a strange, cryptic, and incoherent set of videos. But I do think there is a story here. What we're watching isn't meant to be a surface level playthrough of a strange situation. It's a showcase of a human being going through the 5 stages of grief. Ever since he was mentioned in the description of the first episode, Danny hasn't made a single appearance in any of his videos. This was his castle, his world with Mason, but we never see or hear of Danny. But isn't it strange that the only chunk that Mason keeps repairing in this whole series is Danny's castle, not even his own home? Isn't it strange that Mason never leaves this world like any normal player would? I mean, if this happened to you, why would you ever keep playing? Unless this world meant something more to you. Unless this world was the only memory of someone you had lost. And if that was true, wouldn't your first priority be to keep whatever they made intact, to fight back and preserve their memory? The Channel Knights tells a story of Mason going through denial, continuing to play in his world as if nothing was wrong, writing it off as a glitch or a bug. Anger, lashing out against the mobs, blowing up his world and dropping lava into the void to fight back against the disappearances. Bargaining by trying to make amends and pleading with the only thing thing that he had left to somehow bring his world back, to preserve his memories and keep them alive. Depression, giving up on ever making it out, and throwing away all that he had left before finally acceptance. Not letting the world take Danny's castle from him, but instead tearing it down himself. Understanding that he can't hold on to the past. Holding on to this world won't bring Danny back. Nothing will. The only thing he can do to heal his wounds is to accept that Danny is gone. And I'll do you one better. The enlisted video, Escaping to Hell, that's Mason telling us that his hell isn't the Nether, it's remembering what happened to Danny, which I can only suspect must have been some sort of accident. Whether Danny was a friend, a brother, or something more, he's gone, and Mason has to accept it. But that's not where this story ends, because what if I told you that these videos weren't in order and you've already seen how this story ends for Mason? Because what comes after acceptance? Well, it's only then that you can truly heal and begin a new world. I mean, don't believe me, just pay attention to the inventories. In fact, the only item that's different in Danny's inventory right before and after the fall is the one item that we suspected he put in the chest all those episodes ago. The rose. The one fragment left of a Minecraft world that destroyed itself.
Max. Damn. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 I don't like this. I think I'm going to take a break. Okay, I'm not taking a break. I just took a piss. You know what I'm doing? I'm playing some GT, man. stuurt hij me nu eens? Oh mijn god. Can Let Go. Heb je nog een Can Let Go, boy? Ik haat dat level ook. Ik denk dat ik het zelf nog niet compleet heb. Level heeft mij 172 attempts genomen. Waar de fuck was in mijn jump? I want flee Minecraft. That's my best run today. Okay, then we're running an ice biting. Shiver me timbers. Ik kom. Ik ben al nog weg. tatsu 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 tatsu. I'm going to bottomless. Ushman dish,